versus leading competitor 8th edition products.
Michael K. is on the radio today, and he ain't afraid to say what he's thinking. It's the Michael K. Show on 880 ESPN Radio.
And a good afternoon, everybody. This is indeed the Michael K. Show. We thank you for joining us on this Monday, September 28th, 2025. We're here for 2 hours, the fastest 2 hours in sports talk radio. You know the number. Let's get involved. This is one of those days you just wonder, how do you even cover it? How do you even make sense of it? It's one of those days that the Yankees making the playoffs against the Red Sox, which on any other given Monday after the regular season would be a huge story. Backseat. Jackson Dart making his starting debut in the NFL and beating a previously unbeaten Charger team. That would be a big story. Backseat. Because the lead story happens to be what I think is one of the most embarrassing collapses in the history of professional sports. The New York Mets, with a $340 million payroll, not making the playoffs. A year after they went to Game 6 of the NLCS against the Dodgers, 2 wins away from going to the World Series. And they go out and they add Juan Soto, one of the great hitters of all time, a generational hitter who had a really excellent year, and they don't even get into the postseason. Steve Cohen sent out a long a long tweet about an hour ago. Said it was unacceptable. And they're going to delve into reasons why it happened. A lot of white noise. You could point fingers all you want. Players didn't get it done. And to make matters worse, to make it more painful for the New York Mets and their fans, they lose on Friday. They win on Saturday. They go into Sunday tied. They can't be tied because the Reds have the tiebreaker. The Reds lose to Milwaukee, and the Mets saw it up on the board that they were losing 4-2. And the Reds are not a great offensive team. If they have a strength, it's their starting pitching. You knew they weren't coming back from 4-2 down to Milwaukee. And you could not score a run. You couldn't score a run off the Miami Marlins. I don't know if a team should be more embarrassed ever than the Mets are, and should be. And people want to point fingers now. They want to point fingers at Carlos Mendoza. They want to point fingers at David Stearns. Well, here's what I would ask you to do, and I want you all to be very rational. You look at the team that David Stearns assembled. Now, I think he did an awful job at the trade deadline. I think he did an awful job before the season with the players that he brought in and the players that he didn't bring in. Don't give him any credit for Soto. That was That was Cohen. Don't give him any credit for Alonso. That was Cohen. That was not Stearns. And I'm not a David Stearns hater. And I think he didn't have a great year after having a great year the year before. But just ask yourself this one question. The talent that he assembled coming into this season, should they, if they had Chris Carlin managing them, win more than 83 games? That's all I ask. And that's all they do is win one more game. And they would be in the playoffs right now, heading to L.A. Last night they would have been heading to L.A. to play the Dodgers, starting tomorrow night. So as bad a job as David Stearns did, and if you think that Mendoza did a bad job, I don't think necessarily that he did, but if you think that he did, the players, just on the strength of the back of their baseball cards, don't you think that they should have won more than 83 games? It's on the players. particularly the pitching. Going into this season on this show, I said the weakness of this Met team was the starting pitching. They were putting too much emphasis on the brilliance of Jeremy Hefner and their pitching lab. They did not bring in one stud, not one. Frankie Montas, everybody in baseball shies away from Frankie Montas because he's like that girl who's trouble. Beautiful, but you know she's trouble. He's got great stuff. He can't stay healthy. Couldn't stay healthy. Awful. You might have gotten the best out of Sean Manaea last year. You knew him better than anybody, and you still wanted to invest $3 million, 3 years and $75 million, and he was dreadful. You trusted him so little yesterday that with 2 runners on in the second inning, you could not trust him to get out of it. And you went to a bullpen which has been an inflammatory group of players the entire season. And they gave up the 4 runs, and that was it. That was over. The Mets can't hit. Mets can't hit as a team. They were 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. They left 10 men on base. And that's not an outlier. That's who they are. Blame the players. Blame the players. And the one chance they had, they do seem to have a black cat mentality in this franchise's history, or a black cloud over their head. They have the bases loaded in the 5th inning. And Pete Alonso hits the hardest ball he's hit all year. And Sanoa runs it down. End of the inning. End of the season. End of the dream. Now let's talk a little humbling of you. And being a little spiteful. Met fans can't get out of their own way. Now, I'm not saying all of them. So when I say Met fans, the ones that I'm referring to know exactly who I'm talking about. They signed Juan Soto, and all of a sudden, the Yankees are the little brothers. We're the big brothers now. The Yankees are the little brothers. They couldn't even keep their great player. Now we have the last laugh on you. Who's laughing now? I guess Plan B wasn't that bad of a plan, was it? Plan B, the Yankees won more games than anybody in the American League East. They tied with the Blue Jays with the most wins, 94. That's Plan B. That's without Juan Soto. That's spending them money and spreading it out over Max Fried and Cody Bellinger and Paul Goldschmidt. I guess Plan B wasn't that bad, was it? Now, the Yankees could get knocked out by the Red Sox. Nobody's saying that might not happen. They could. But they're in the playoffs. And the Mets are going home. Now, this is for the subset of Met fans who jumped me like I stole something from their 98-year-old grandmother when I said I had the audacity to say that Juan Soto wasn't happy when the Mets came in the Yankee Stadium. I stand by that statement. I was correct. He wasn't happy. At no time did I ever say he was never going to be happy as a Met. But you people couldn't control yourself. Every time the Mets won a game, I mean, that was not during the 2 7-game losing streaks and the 8-game losing streak. Not during that time. Anytime they won a game and Juan Soto had a good game, I got the idiotic, brain-dead tweets. Oh, doesn't seem like he's glum now. Doesn't look that unhappy now. I'm sorry, you guys have been mysteriously quiet today because there was a shot of Soto in the visitors' dugout yesterday at Lone Depot Park. He looked very glum. And if I was a bad guy, which I'm not, if I was a vindictive guy, which I am, but the fact that I'm not a bad guy overrides the fact that I'm just sickeningly vindictive. I would have tweeted out that picture of Juan Soto with a very unhappy face in the dugout, say, looks pretty glum. But I didn't do that. Too classy. But you wouldn't have been classy. If he had come up in the 9th inning and hit a grand slam to tie the game and they won in extra innings, you don't think that my inbox would have been full today because you can't help yourself, can you? And the baseball gods frown down upon that arrogance and that nastiness and that viciousness. I'll tell you this right now. I haven't even seen Juan Soto today. I bet you he's unhappy. I bet you he's unhappy that the team that he left because the Mets offered him more money in a suite and his mom gets new clothes, I bet you he's really sorry he left the Yankees. Because the Yankees are going to the postseason, and the Mets are going home. David Stern's going to have a press availability today at 3:30. I'm sure they'll cover it on Don Hahn and Rosenberg. What's he going to say? Some coaches are going to get fired. Andy Martino already wrote yesterday that Mendoza's not going anywhere, and I don't think he should. But maybe this is a lesson for that subset of Met fans that can't get out of their own way, that are so unhappy and so vicious, that maybe pipe down. Maybe if you pipe down, good things might happen. Maybe if you pipe down, you might make the playoffs 2 years in a row every once in a while. Maybe. But the Met team that you celebrated during the offseason can be completely different in 2026. I don't think they bring back Pete Alonso. I mean, how could you bring back the same team and expect things to be different? I think there's something broken. I think there's something broken in the clubhouse, which will come out. Already a big story in The Athletic today that Lindor and Soto have completely different views on how to get ready for a game. Soto is very serious. He attacks each game as if that's, he has to conquer that game. Lindor is very light, laughs, smiles, that they're different. That's why if it wasn't about money, it might have been the best thing for Juan Soto to stay with the Yankees, because if that's the way he attacks a game, the Yankees have always been very corporate. They're not the jolly carnival atmosphere that some players desire. Every game is big for them. I mean, they wear pinstripe suits, just like all those people on Wall Street. They're very conservative. So if Juan Soto doesn't like one guy being so lighthearted, why did he go to a team where that guy is a big part of it? Just consider this. When you say, they got to break the Mets up, well, they're unbreakable. Soto is signed through 2039. Consider this. I'm in fairly good health, but there's a good chance I won't be alive at the end of his contract. I'm 64. So 2009, I'll be 78. Who knows? Who makes it to 78? That's over the life expectancy in America. Then you've got Francisco Lindor signed through 2031. And then you got Brandon Nimmo signed through 2030. Now, Nimmo, if you eat some of his contract, maybe you could trade him. Maybe. Lindor's not going anywhere. Soto's not going anywhere. So you're going to have to make your changes elsewhere. Maybe, Met fans, you'll have another opportunity to try to kick in the Yankee fans' teeth if you steal Cody Bellinger this offseason, because he's going to opt out of his deal. And nobody, including the Dodgers, are going to outbid Steve Cohen. They're just not. Yankees wanted Soto back, and they couldn't outbid Steve Cohen. Maybe they also got to a point where they go, well, this is silly. We're not going this high. So maybe you can hang on the rim during the offseason. Oh, look, we stole Cody Bellinger from you. Like you were hanging on the rim because you stole Juan Soto. And I'm not going to sit here and be a liar or try to recreate a new truth. Yankees, it hurt them to lose Soto. For Hal Steinbrenner to go to $760 million, way above what I'm sure his baseball people wanted him to go to. That's how much he wanted him. That's how much he realized how important he was. But I've said this 100 times. They want Steinbrenner to spend more money. You can spend all the money you want. Doesn't guarantee victory. You got to have some kind of cohesion and chemistry on that team. Mets obviously don't. They couldn't get out of their own way. Here's the thing that really has to sting. You got beaten out of a postseason spot by the Reds. The Reds, who have a third of your payroll. The Reds, who from the All-Star break on, they won 33 and 32. It's not like they overtook you. You were just inept. You were just inept. You gave this away. It is inconceivable. I never thought the Reds would catch you. And if you had a decent team with a little heart, they wouldn't have caught you. It's inconceivable to me that the Mets are not in the playoffs. Inconceivable. I got a lot of Met friends, fans that are Met fans, or friends that are Met fans. They're devastated today. How could you not be? This team systematically rips your heart out. And those are the people I genuinely feel for. I really feel for them. The people that I don't feel for, the people that made me think that it might be fun today to come on at 1 o'clock and just giggle for 2 hours. You know who you are. You're the creeps that couldn't let good enough be. You're the ones. We're the big brother now. You're the ones who kept sending those tweets out to me. Oh, Juan Soto looks happy now. How dumb do you feel? How chagrined are you? Are you embarrassed? Because this was going to be the dawning of a new era. The Yankees were going away. When they went 20-31 over those 51 games, you were rejoicing. I don't think the Yankees can make the playoffs. See, they couldn't do it with their plan B. Plan B worked. Your plan A didn't. You signed the best free agent available in a long time. One of the best players ever to become a free agent. Just a smidge behind Alex when Alex Rodriguez became a free agent at 26. That's how valuable Juan Soto is. And you still fell flat on your face. Again, every Met fan out there, I feel for you. I do. And I don't rejoice in your pain at all. But it's that vicious, angry subset of Met fans that weren't hugged by their parents, who didn't have any love in their family, and they just loved to pass along hate. Derisive, nasty. Those I don't feel sorry for. I'm going to tell you a little secret. I feel glee about your pain today because you deserve it. The way you tried to make my life a living hell by all those Juan Soto tweets when you knew that I never even said the stuff that you're accusing me of saying, but you needed something to hang on the rim about. And you said, let's pick the guy who announces Yankee games and is also accessible on the radio show. Let's do it to him. But now I'm the one who's laughing at you because you couldn't beat out the Cincinnati Reds with a $110 million payroll. You added the great Juan Soto to a team that went to Game 6 of the NLCS, and you didn't make the playoffs the next year. How do you wrap your mind around that? How? Now, in 3 days, you might be calling in and laughing at me because the Yankees could get eliminated by the Red Sox in the wild card. They could, and we'll talk about that later on. But my comeback to you would be, they played postseason games on a plan B. Your plan A, you couldn't even get to the postseason. So all you nice Met fans that I love, and some of my best friends in the world are Met fans. Mike Breen is a Met fan. I feel for him today. But I want the arrogant ones, the ones that were, in their own way threatening me and, telling I'd eat concrete if I went to that game on June 12th. Instead, I met the nice Met fans, the ones with the loud, obnoxious voices on social media, nowhere to be found. I wonder if they'll call in today. I wonder if you have anything to say today. I wonder if you think maybe we still are the little brother. Maybe all the money in the world can't buy a championship. Because look at the Dodgers. Dodgers spent an inordinate amount of money during the offseason. Oh, so much money on relief pitching. Their bullpen stinks. They had the third best record in the National League, so they're facing the Reds. They catch a break. If they don't beat the Reds, it won't be as bad as the Mets not making the playoffs, but boy, it'll be bad. Milwaukee Brewers don't spend any money. They have the best record in baseball. The Houston Astros spend a lot of money. They didn't make the postseason, but you can't laugh at the Houston Astros because they made the postseason every single year, since 2016, 2015? The Mets can't seem to, shake the habit of not being able to make the playoffs 2 years in a row. And the Mets didn't just collapse everybody. Here's what happened. It was a slow motion horror film that started on June 13th. It was like it was unfolding in front of you in slow motion and you couldn't stop it. And why I think that this is one of the worst collapses and embarrassments in the history of professional sports. This is a sport with some people thinking an embarrassingly expanse of their postseason, where 3 teams go to the wild card and you couldn't get into the party. Goodness gracious. How did this happen? Please, that subset of special Met fans that are miserable in their own existence, please, I want to hear from you today the most. Any apologies in order? Because your owner, Steve Cohen, who I think is a good guy with great intentions, he sent out a tweet today apologizing and saying that the season was unacceptable. Now, I don't think he has anything to apologize for. The guy has spent more money than anybody could have imagined or even wanted him to. And maybe he'll spend more money this offseason. But he has nothing to apologize for, just like George Steinbrenner had nothing to apologize for when the Yankees lost in 1981 to the Dodgers in the World Series. But Cohen wears it, and he apologized, and he did say it's unacceptable. The 2025 New York Mets not going to the postseason is unacceptable and embarrassment to the nth degree that I can't even wrap my mind around. We'll talk some Jackson Dart. We'll talk the Yankees starting the postseason tomorrow against the Red Sox at the stadium. Many things going on. But I want to hear from you. You know I'm looking right in the camera. You know I want to hear from you. It's you. You're the one I hear from. I want to hear from the Big Brother screamers. I want to hear from the Juan Soto doesn't look glum screamers. That's the people I want to hear from. Or are you hiding in a corner right now, sitting in your own vomit and your own unhappiness? I wonder, can you dial the phone today? Because I want to hear from you. I think that would be fun. And I want to have some fun today. Let's do that together, shall we? I hope you're watching us on our new YouTube channel, which you could go to the ESPN New York app, click on the YouTube tile, subscribe, and enjoy. You can listen to us on the ESPN New York app, and of course, you're listening on ESPN New York.
Monday with Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. Can the Jets follow the Giants' lead and pick up their first victory of the season tonight? How confident are you in the Yankees against the Red Sox? And where do the Mets go from here?
Stearns has to swallow a really tough pill here right now.
Stearns has to figure out
what he was disgusting this offseason and this season.
Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg at 3 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
Hey Yankees fans, hit your next adventure out of the park and onto the water with City Cruises New York. Sail your way to epic skyline views, delicious dining, and premium drinks. Upgrade your game day with a dining cruise, a cocktail sail, or a night with your favorite entertainers aboard City Cruises Live. whether you're celebrating a win or just the weekend. City Cruises is a shipload of fun. Proud partner of the New York Yankees. Book today at citycruises.com/New York.
Right now, police are stepping up patrols to make sure drivers and pedestrians obey our crosswalk laws. Why? Because every year in New York, people are injured or killed just crossing the street. So remember, pedestrians, obey traffic signals and use crosswalks. And drivers, yield to pedestrians in crosswalks. If you don't, we will educate you on the law, and you may get a ticket, because tickets get attention, and that saves lives. A message from the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee.
D'Agostino & Associates is a legacy firm, and I'm proud to be a part of that legacy. I'm Jenna D'Agostino, and like my father, I fight to get justice for the injured.
The hustle and grit of these streets shaped me. I'm John D'Agostino, and from the concrete to the courtroom, I built this injury firm 35 years ago to get accident victims justice. So call my team first, 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-248-3222.
You want justice? Think Jenna D'Agostino. Think D'Agostino & Associates. Justice isn't just a word. For us, it's a way of life. It's having compassion for your struggle and getting you paid for your pain. Now that's justice. D'Agostino & Associates means being there for the injured.
Seriously injured? Call my team first at 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-248-3222. D'Agostino & Associates has offices throughout New York and New Jersey and will come to you. I've been there, and I'll be there for you.
D'Agostino, Law, Bite Back.
Why do you go to Princeton Longevity Center?
We go to Princeton Longevity Center because my husband's cardiologist told him having this exam saved his life.
Because somehow 20 turned into 40, and now I need to take my health more seriously. The Princeton Longevity Center designed a program to keep me healthy and active, so 50 and 60 will be no sweat.
Because even though my cholesterol is high, it turned out my arteries are clear. That's a big relief.
Whether you want to make the most of your future years or just want peace of mind, you need the Princeton Longevity Center. Their comprehensive preventive exam combines the latest technology with caring experts to create your personal plan for staying well.
Because I shouldn't have to wait an hour for a 10-minute physical. I go to Princeton Longevity Center because I get everything done in one day and take my results home with me.
Find out why you need Princeton Longevity. Call 888-8000-PLC or go to PrincetonLongevityCenter.com. Call 888-8000-PLC. That's 888-8000-PLC.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's carsforkids.org.
eBay has reinvented vehicle buying. From click to curb, everything's covered. Ever try to buy a car online and end up in a parking lot with a stranger and some blind trust? That era is over. Now with Secure Purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your car. It's where you buy it, start to finish. Title, financing, registration, delivery, it's all built in. This is the modern way to buy your next ride on eBay. eBay. Things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Caramel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary.
Rich Eisen here for Sonos, the speakers that bring every game to life in my own house. With studio quality sound, Sonos makes you feel like you're right there in the stadium. Whether you're cheering on your team, binging your favorite show, or listening to the hottest songs, Sonos fills every room with incredible sound. Setup is easy. Just plug in, open the Sonos app, and you're ready to go. Want stadium quality sound at home just like me? Because I love Sonos. You will too. Explore soundbars, speakers, and more at Sonos.com. Sonos. They look as good as they sound.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Now, we will take your phone calls regarding the Mets' unprecedented collapse, but we also want to give proper respect to Jackson Dart's debut as a starter for the Giants, where he knocked off an undefeated team, the Chargers, at 3-0. And not many, I think there's 5 quarterbacks now in the history of the game that made their debut as a starter and knocked off a team that was at least 3-0. But me talking about it, what does that mean? We bring in the Hall of Famer, Steve Young, who knows what he's talking about, to give me clarity and insight into what he saw with Dart. Steve, first off, thanks for coming on. How you doing?
Good, Michael. How are you, buddy?
Good. So what did you think of Dart?
I was energizing, right? I was energized. I was energized by his demeanor, like how he looks at the game. He's the kind of guy that feels like he plays free and easy and lets it rip a little bit. I think that the game plan was great, right? Let's run him a lot. Let's not put too much on him. Let's let him be the things we ask him to do, let him do naturally, rather than trying to clutter his mind. And I think that's probably the smart way to go. Now, and you and you win, and so it's like a dream come true. And so the excitement's going to build exponentially. And I think there's so many filters and hurdles that you have to run through to be a good to great player in the NFL at quarterback. But I mean, let's take it. It's awesome. It's great.
Do you have any fear whatsoever that he doesn't have fear? And so he's running with abandon. He almost has a linebacker's mentality. Looked like he tweaked his hamstring a little bit, went in and got checked for a concussion. He said he didn't get hit. He was just exhausted after a long run. Can that play against him in the long run, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, one of the problems that they're in is that he's young and inexperienced. And so if you want to continue, I think Brian did a great job. Actually, remember when he came in with his quarterback at that time and kind of simplified things and tried to take the burden off. And Daniel was, I think he's super smart, and so he's very capable. Things kind of went haywire from there. But I think it's the same kind of philosophy here. Is let's try to maintain the ability to not clutter the mind here and let him be an athlete and let him run. And like he's probably, in college, it wasn't like he was a dual threat maniac. Like he was, he's in the pocket, he's throwing the ball. That's what he really does best. But obviously he can run. And the thing that we have to deal with is that there's a fake it till you make it kind of period of time here. And it's really all season, is that he's not going to be able to gather all the information and all the subtleties and all the nuances and the speed of the game so that he can start to dominate and throw all kinds of things at him. It's just not, you can't do that. It'll overwhelm him. And Daniel had the same problem, and I think it simplified it. It actually helped. And so I feel like for this season, we've got to recognize that we're in a little bit of a tight box, and that Jackson's got to figure out a way to work through it too. In other words, he's going to have to be a partner in it. Like, I know you're not going to ask too much of me. I know I'm going to have to kind of keep it simple. I know I'm going to, try to, I'm going to have to run a lot. I'm going to have to be very physical, attack the line of scrimmage, and I got to be smart. And I got to be able to run the football and get down. And I always believed, I ran the football a ton, but I always believed I was much safer out in space than I was in the pocket. Now, it doesn't mean that you got to run, you got to stay in the pocket, you got to take the hits, you got to do that stuff. That's the game. That's the most important part of it. But the other part of it, when you get out in space, you can get down, you can fall forward, you can find your way to the ground and not take a big hit. Like, it can happen. You got to be smart. And so this whole dynamic that they're going to have to build throughout this season is going to be, Jackson not taking too much on, yet being smart with his body, and Brian trying to make sure that he doesn't burden him. And so it's a tight window, but yet, hey, we're 1-0.
Now, how much of a setback is it for his continued maturation to maybe lose neighbors for the entire year?
To be any good in the league, that's Patrick, that's Josh, that's Lamar. I don't care who you say, whoever it was. Every quarterback needs lots of help. You do it. You need help from the owner on down. And if you get it, you can really thrive, and you can see how good you can get. And that's what you're seeing from a Josh Allen. That's what you're seeing from Patrick Mahomes. It's like They can see how good they really are because they have the help in all the places that they need it. You need speed, you need talent, you need threats. You need to come out of the locker room as in warmups and have the other team go, ooh, he looks better in real life, man. This looks like and you need a bunch of them. You don't need one or two. But when you have potentially superstar people that can threaten coming out of the locker room, it makes a huge difference. And then losing them, defenses are predatory in the league, right? They can smell that you don't have the threat. You don't have, Jackson, you're more lonely than you realize. And then they start creeping and makes it tougher. So all that really matters and big time.
Isn't it amazing though, Steve, that how things could change, the narrative could change. So they win a game they weren't supposed to win. Now they go to New Orleans, a game that they should win. And if they do win it, all of a sudden they're 2-3 and it's not doom and gloom anymore.
Right. And that's beautiful. And that's what but the Giants aren't trying to, in the past, it felt like they were flat on their back. They're just trying to get relevant. I feel like the Giants feel like they're relevant. They got the building blocks to do it. And so unfortunately 2-3, we were like, oh, we got hope. It's like the expectations are better than that. And so we've got to get back to playing great Giants football, winning games that, we've got to get to the playoffs. And I know that's a big leap right now in the moment, but part of it's going to beat the teams you should and beating some of the teams you shouldn't. So I don't want to think that if the Giants end up 8-9, that we're like, we're doing good. It's like we got to, there's bigger expectations of that, and I think we got to live up to them.
All right, so we have the Jets and the Dolphins tonight, the first game on the Monday Night Football. And I just want to ask you not so much about the Jets, about the Dolphins. Tua looks like he's taken a step back. Does that seem like that to you?
Yeah, and I don't like it. I don't like that because Mike, of all the innovative minds that understand the quarterback position, that can call plays, that, the great, there's 10 great play callers in the league today, maybe 12, maybe 14, but there's not 32. And Mike's one of them. So it's like, I'm trying to figure out what's happening. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. When you've got a really quarterback-centric spirit of the team, how they understand the game, they understand the quarterback doesn't need to be coddled, but needs to be supported in a way that dynamic play calling, dynamic innovation, protection. And so maybe the problem is I got to watch tonight really closely, because if it's protection, that makes a lot of sense to me. Because I don't think Mike McDaniel's kind of like all of a sudden lost it. I don't think Tua's all of a sudden just lost it. Now, Tua might physically have a problem. Like, quarterbacks hide stuff. All players hide stuff. They have a foot injury, their abdominals hurt, or like something's going on that you just have to ferret out over time. That that when you say he took a step back, it might be injury a little bit that we don't even know about. But if it's truly taking a step back, like I'm not as good, then I have to look at Mike. I got to look at the whole thing, like what's going on here, because if they could play good defense, I knew offensively they'd score plenty of points. Now all of a sudden we got to worry about that. We got to figure that out, because that seems a little bit off.
Now, we're talking with Steve Young here on the Michael K. Show. I've always said, I hate when people say, there's a must-win, unless it's a mathematical must-win. That being said, how big a game is this for the Jets that I think they almost have to win this game? They're trying to turn stuff around and change the culture around. You got to beat the Dolphins, Steve. It's an emotional must-win, right? It's not, you're right, it's not technically, but it's an emotional one. You build there's no longer, like you think about baseball, 162 games is like, that's the longest season in there. There's no longer season than 16 games in the NFL when things suck. And you have to go through every week, going through all the drama and the media and the emotion. And you have to go, and then you got to go rally to go ram into people. It's a really tough spot. And so when you get the emotions of the momentum, and you can smell, like the Giants go into the meeting room today to watch the film, like it feels easier, feels better. And it just makes a huge difference. So that's where the Jets are. They need an emotionally charged win to get back so they can start to play good football, because it's tough to play good football when you're losing and you can't. It's like the drama of it all weighs on you like a heavy blanket, a wet blanket that you just can't get out from under. And final thing, if you're in Baltimore today, are you a little concerned about this Ravens team who really got handled quite easily by Kansas City? Well, I'm not in Baltimore, but I worry. There's another team that makes the
they were 1-3, 1-2, and I was like, they're fine. Look what happened in Buffalo. Look what happened. They're playing good football. They're just defensively they'll tighten. They'll get the defense figured out and they'll tighten. They go to Kansas City and get smashed, and they don't play well anywhere. So then you got to say to yourself, is something happening? But then again, it's Lamar, it's John, it's the same stuff. It's like people hurt. Like, what's going on? Because it makes no sense. And I got to believe that the preseason, September's now over. The preseason's over. And I've got to believe that the real Ravens will show up because there's nothing that's changed that makes me feel like something's gone haywire.
Great stuff, Steve. As always, I appreciate you popping on.
Okay. You bet, Michael. See you, buddy.
That's the Hall of Famer Steve Young joins us every Monday at 1:30. We love talking to him. So he feels good about Jackson Dart, and the Giants should feel good about Dart, but they have to feel just devastated about Malik Neighbors. I mean, you have to. I was watching the game before the Yankee game yesterday with David Cohn and Paul O'Neill, and before he came down, I saw he just ripped his knee apart. Well, as he was going up in the air, they could just see, and they both just cringed. I mean, it's every athlete's worst nightmare. All right, we're going to come back. We'll take your phone calls. Time for the co-host to get involved. But first, the FanDuel Sportsbook app is your home for all your favorite NFL bets, from yards to touchdowns to who will win. With FanDuel, any play can be the play of the game. And when the Jets and the Dolphins and the Bengals and the Broncos play tonight, FanDuel giving all customers a 50% PBT or two 30% PBTs. That's right. You can get in on the action with a 50% PBT or two 30% PBTs this Monday night. So make FanDuel your go-to app for any snap. Just visit FanDuel.com/K to bet the Jets versus the Dolphins and the Bengals versus the Broncos with a 50% PBT or two 30% PBTs. Play your game with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, 21 plus and physically present in New York. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
This fall, don't sit on the sideline because of pain. If you're tired of waking up stiff, fighting neck, back, or joint pain, and missing out on the things you love, it's time to take action. Call Dr. Jay Shaw at Sandwell Pain, New Jersey's top pain specialist. Dr. Shaw is the Ivy League trained, double board certified, and laser focused on one thing: getting you back in the game. Living pain-free, no surgery, no cuts, no downtime. Just precise image-guided treatments that deliver real results. Whether it's sciatica, nerve pain, migraine, or chronic joint pain, Dr. Shaw will personalize a non-surgical game plan just for you without pain medication. Same-day and next-day appointments are available with offices in Woodbridge, Livingston, and Inglewood. Most major insurances are accepted, so what are you waiting for? Don't let pain keep you out of the action this season. Visit Sandwell Pain to text, call, or book online. You'll wish you met Dr. Jay Shaw a lot sooner. Relief starts today, and victory over pain is closer than you think.
At City Harvest, we believe no New Yorker has to go hungry. With your help, we're on the road 365 days a year, rescuing over 77 million pounds of nutritious food and delivering it free to millions of New Yorkers, transforming surplus food into sustenance, sustainability, and smiles, rallying thousands of New Yorkers to power a network of nourishment across our city. One day, one meal, and one New Yorker at a time. That's how we feed good. Donate at cityharvest.org.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Every aspect of your business will operate better and faster with artificial intelligence. AI is a race, and companies that act first will win. Thrive Managed AI is your advantage over all your competitors. Thrive partners with you on a smart, secure AI strategy for your business. Then they deploy and manage it for you. Be first and win the race with Thrive Managed AI. Start with a complimentary strategy consultation at thrivenextgen.com/ESPN. That's thrivenextgen.com/ESPN.
We are proud to serve.
to serve our country, to serve our local communities, to wear the uniform, to be a soldier, to serve abroad when and where duty calls. We are ready to stand with our brothers and sisters to defend, to serve, to fight. We're always ready, we're always there. We are the New York Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the New York Army National Guard.
Hey Yankees fans, hit your next adventure out of the park and onto the water with City Cruises New York. Sail your way to epic skyline views, delicious dining, and premium drinks. Upgrade your game day with a dining cruise, a cocktail sail, or a night with your favorite entertainers aboard City Cruises Live. Whether you're celebrating a win or just the weekend, City Cruises is a shipload of fun. Proud partner of the New York Yankees. Book today at citycruises.com/New York.
Some people just know you can save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check if they're going for it on 4th down, before going to the concession stand.
Yeah, give me 3 hot dogs, 2 jumbo touchdown, baby! What?
Hey, buddy, you want cheese with those?
Yeah, checking first is smart.
No.
So check Allstate first and see what you could save. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Potential savings vary, including based on how you buy, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Out here, it's football season, where nothing beats backyard grilling, gathering around the fire pit, and cheering on your favorite team with friends. The yard is mowed, the lights are strung, and the grill is warming up. Whether you need to fill up your propane, get a new grill, or even a generator, out here, it's game day. And we're ready for it. Tractor Supply, for life out here.
The ESPN New York Couchcast is tonight, and things are heating up.
We genuinely really get along with each other.
I don't even think Peter watches sports. You could make the argument that Rick doesn't get enough credit for being a low-key fraud.
Carlin's going to be at this Couchcast, too, so we got to make sure we have a lot of cannolis.
The ESPN New York Couchcast is tonight. See it all unfold on the ESPN New York YouTube channel. Brought to you by the All-American Ford Auto Group, Calandra's Bakery, and Jacob's Pickles.
Hi, game time brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. 7:15 p.m., the Jets are in Miami to play the Dolphins. That'll be on Monday Night Football on ESPN. And at 8:15, the Bengals are in Denver to play the Broncos. That will be on ABC 7 here in New York City. I don't know if you realize that the Mets are not playing tonight, nor tomorrow. The Yankees will start their 3-game set against the Red Sox tomorrow night at Yankee Stadium. Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew. Try the new Tullamore Dew Honey during today's action. Glass up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. Now, for those that did not read the tweet that was sent out by Steve Cohen, this is what he said. If I could find it. Of course I can't. I can't, because that's how life works. But he basically apologized. I'll read you the whole thing a little bit later on. 1-800-919-3776. Now I want to talk to you. Let's go to and start off with our friend Phil in Brooklyn. Phil, what's up, man?
Mike, I'm a full season ticket holder for the Mets. I lived through the 07 collapse, the 08 collapse. This is much worse. The problem with the Mets, one of the many, many problems with the Mets, anytime they have a good year and they make the playoffs, it's a miracle. And then the next year they have expectations, and they never fulfill them, ever. 06, great year, magical run. That was it. 15, great year. Next year they barely made the wild card game. And that was it since 2022, and then 23 was a disaster. There's no consistency with the Mets. Anytime they have expectations, they never fulfill them.
Yeah, it's really a hard one to explain. I mean, I don't believe in, voodoo or curses or stuff like that. But how is it possible that this team has not won a championship since '86, has won just 2 in its 64 years of existence? How's that possible? Now you have an owner that their money is no object at all. And still, you won 83 games with a $340 million payroll, which probably cost Steve Cohen around $400 million. If I'm Steve Cohen, I'm red hot. Absolutely red hot. This is what he tweeted out today at 11:53. Met fans everywhere, I owe you an apology. You did your part by showing up and supporting the team. We didn't do our part. We will do a postmortem and figure out the obvious and less obvious reasons why the team didn't perform up to your and my expectations. We are all feeling raw emotions today. I know how much time and effort you have put into this team. The result was unacceptable. Your emotions tell me how much you care and continue to motivate the organization to do better. Thank you to the best fans in the world. Well, if I'm him, I'd be devastated and I'd be red hot because he didn't spare any expense, did he? He spent silly money on Juan Soto, and that wasn't good enough to get them over the hump. Not only over the hump, but now they're back to square one. Think about this. There were 4 teams. Talk about bad luck. There were 4 teams during this last offseason that vigorously pursued Juan Soto. Red Sox, Blue Jays, Yankees, and the Mets. Red Sox, Blue Jays, Yankees didn't get him. They're all in the playoffs. The Mets won the lottery. They got him, and they're out of the playoffs. How do you explain it? It just doesn't make sense. Let's go to Britt in New Jersey. Britt.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you doing?
I'm good. Listen, I like to always take a step back and look at sports as, what it is. It's a business, right? You have to have chemistry. You have to have people that, gel with each other, so on and so forth. And I got to be honest, the second that I found out that Soto was choosing the Mets over the Yankees because of money, I thought this isn't going to end well. Never go with money over chemistry. He had it with the Yankees. He had it with Judge. He went over to the Mets. I think there's also resentment from the other teammates. If I'm another teammate and I'm like, wow, this guy's coming in, he's making all this money, what's he going to do? And then he comes in and actually disrupts the team if he's, wanting to be serious and all that stuff, that coming out. I will not be shocked about anything that comes out having to do with that team chemistry or lack thereof.
Well, I hear what you're saying, but a good clubhouse, Britt, should be able to absorb it. If he signed with the Yankees, he was going to make silly money just like he's making now, and Aaron Judge would have made sure that he was accepted and embraced in the clubhouse. Sometimes you have to realize what you have. And the one thing that stands out in my mind is during his press conference, he said, because no one can tell the truth and say, listen, the Mets made me an offer I couldn't refuse. There's nothing wrong with that. Instead, he gave some poppycock stuff about, I think the Mets are, in a better position to go to the World Series than the Yankees. Really? They're not even going to the playoffs. The Yankees have a chance to go to the World Series, so that sounds dumb. If he would have just said, the Mets made me an offer I couldn't refuse, everybody would have said, yeah, I get it. I would probably leave a job I love if somebody made me an offer I couldn't refuse. But instead, he played the card, the Mets are better positioned to go to the playoffs. Well, they're not. They don't even go to the playoffs. And I said at the time, that's incorrect. The American League is easier than the National League. The road to the World Series is easier through the American League than the National League. But I was wrong because they didn't just get beaten out by a good team. They got beaten out by the Cincinnati Reds. So it wasn't like there were so many great teams in the National League that they squeezed the Mets out. The Mets got squeezed out by the Cincinnati Reds. The Cincinnati Reds have not made the playoffs in a full 162-game season since 2013. 2013. And a team that was 21 games over 500 at the end of the games on June 12th, they couldn't hold what at that time they were 9 games clear of a playoff spot. 9 games. And they lose to the Reds? I mean, how do you reconcile that? And for the Met fans that want Mendoza fired, listen, it's not always the manager. And I tell Yankee fans this as well. Stop with the Boone stuff. Stop with the Girardi stuff. It's not always the manager. Sometimes it's the players and players that you put together that might not fit and the chemistry in the room might stink. That's what it is. So Carlos Mendoza was a genius in 2024. And today I'm seeing Met fans, well, they got to get rid of Carlos Mendoza. Why? He all of a sudden became dumb? They already did it once with Buck Showalter. He won 101 games. Then an injury-ravaged team where he lost Edwin Diaz in the WBC, and they have a bad year, and they fired him. So then Mendoza has a great first year. They go to the playoffs. They go to the sixth game of the NLCS, and then they miss it this year, and it's on him? I don't think it's on him. I got a text from a scout that I respect to the nth degree. I think the guy is brilliant. I've known him for a long time. He has no connection whatsoever to the Yankees or to the Mets. I want to read you what he texted me after my opening monologue. So about 1:20, he texted me. It might be a sobering thing for people to hear, but I think you should hear it. Hey, get ready for a new Monday Night Football experience with the ESPN New York Couchcast when the Jets take on the Dolphins for the Week 4 divisional matchup. Settle in on the couch with us and join the Altcast with all your favorite ESPN New York personalities for instant reactions, unfiltered commentary, and behind-the-mic banter. Stream live on your YouTube page from kickoff to the final whistle. We are going to see how much food Chris Carlin can consume. So grab your snacks. Watch the game with the pros. Keep a close eye on me and Rick. We might disappear for a while. It's the ESPN New York Couchcast presented by the great people at Calandra's Bakery. I'm going to eat a lot of their goods. Jacob's Pickles. I'm going to eat a lot of their goods. And driven by the All-American Ford Auto Group. Your giant Ford Auto Group with giant savings and a giant selection. And they have a little mini car, mini Jeep that they have brought to the studio. And I'm sure some of us are going to be riding around in that during the Couchcast. It's going to be a blast. So watch the game on ESPN, and then on your device, check in on the Couchcast. Tonight, starting at 7 p.m. on the ESPN New York YouTube channel.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's carsforkids.org.
D'Agostino, Law, Bite Back.
I'm injury attorney John Ryan D'Agostino, nicknamed The Closer, continuing D'Agostino & Associates' legacy of helping the injured for over 35 years. My father, John D'Agostino, built this injury firm to help accident victims.
This is John D'Agostino, and this is a family firm. For us, it's about doing what's right and making sure somebody pays for your pain. Call us first at 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-BITE-BACK.
They call me The Closer because big or small, in court or out, I'm fighting to get the job done, to win, to get you every dollar you deserve.
D'Agostino & Associates has offices throughout New York and New Jersey and will come to you. I've been there and I'll be there for you. Call us first at 1-800-BITE-BACK. 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-248-3222.
880 ESPN, WHSQ, and WCBS-FM HD2, New York. A Good Karma Brands radio station.
Health surprises can change your life in an instant. You've seen it happen to others, but it doesn't have to be your story. At Princeton Longevity Center, we customize actionable and proactive health plans to maximize your lifespan and take control of your health. Our Cancer Check program combines cutting-edge technology with top medical expertise to keep you ahead of potential risks. With advanced full-body imaging, genetic testing, and multi-cancer detection blood tests, we look for even the earliest signs of problems. Results are analyzed by expert physicians who craft a personalized plan to safeguard your future. You're not just a patient, you're a partner in your health journey, backed by a team committed to helping you live longer, healthier, and more vibrantly. Our programs have saved hundreds of lives and empowered countless others to take control of their health. Be proactive with your health for the ultimate peace of mind. Call 888-8000-PLC or visit PrincetonLongevityCenter.com.
Progressive knows there's so many great things about being a sports fan. Like scoring the company box seats. How great is that? Trick plays that actually work. Prevent defense when your team is winning by a lot. And even more preventative prevent defense as they're hanging on by a thread. And of course, saving money when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive. That's pretty great. Just like trick plays that actually work.
Yeah, but how often does that happen?
Complaining about sports. Not so great. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Hey, fans! Welcome back to Fansville's Cheers and Tears. Oh. Okay, so like everybody deals with losing, right? To a rival on a last-second field goal. Whatever, it's fine. I'm totally fine. But I cope with losing with an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Those 23 flavors are like so delicious. They totally wash away the pain of your college football team taking a big fat L. College football, it's a pepper thing.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. We're joined by Scott Van Pelt in just a moment. So I want to read you what this esteemed scout sent me. You know, when he heard me talking about the Mets. All right, and I talked about maybe chemistry in the clubhouse. This is what he wrote. This is why pro scouting is so important, and the Mets don't believe in it. They hardly communicate with the ones they have. They cover the lower levels only. Evaluations, information, ideas are very important. That's how you would know how guys fit into a clubhouse or not if you have scouting at the upper levels giving you information. The Yankees are very good at it. The Dodgers are very good at it. The Phillies are very good at it. Seattle, etc. That's why they win. It's more than just black and white on a piece of paper. That's what he wrote me. So maybe the Mets did not think about how all the pieces fit. So we're all high on David Stearns. But the way he put the pitching together, I thought at the time, so this is not Monday morning quarterbacking, people. I thought at the time it didn't make any sense to me at all. And then we find out that they don't have, pro scouting at the upper levels. And sometimes I think that the Yankees, because they're so heavily analytic, will go, okay, talent wins out over everything, whether they fit or not. And they've made mistakes, too. Joey Gallo was a mistake. Josh Chisholm Jr., the only reason you got him was because a lot of people in baseball didn't think he fit into a winning atmosphere. He's fit beautifully. Maybe they know what fits in their clubhouse, that they can make a disparate personality bend to their will. But the Mets don't even seem like they take that into account, and that's a little bit odd. That's a little bit odd to hear. So again, David Stearns is going to talk at 3:20 today. That'll be right in the middle of Don Hahn and Rosenberg, so I'm sure that they will be all over it as well. So illuminating, to say the least, of what we hear about the Mets and things that they deem important and things they don't. And I really, truly believe that as more time passes from yesterday and we move forward, more stories will come out of what went wrong. Because even if you don't like the team that David Stearns put together, you would have to be very honest with yourself. And you'd have to say, there's no way that the team that took the field, and even the weak pitching that they have, should equate into an 83-win season. There's no way. There's no way you could look at it and say, yeah, that's an 83-win season. It is one of the most colossal embarrassments in the history of professional sports. Remember the early 90s Mets where Bob Klapisch and John Harper wrote the worst team money can buy? They got a sequel right there if they want to write it. And that team was not coming off a high. The Mets overachieved last year. They overachieved. And then they don't even get into the playoffs. They don't even get into the playoffs. Well, Monday Night Football tonight. So at 5 o'clock on ESPN, 5 o'clock, I want you to mark that down, Monday Night Countdown. 7:15, Jets and the Dolphins on ESPN. 8:15, Bengals and the Broncos on ABC. And the guy who's at the controls, the guy who's at the helm, the guy who makes it all come together is the lovely and talented Scott Van Pelt. And he joins us right now on the show. Hi, Scott. How you doing?
Even better. I'm adding lovely and talented to great. It's a lengthy list of superlatives that you're handing out.
Oh, I've got
Michael.
so
Thank
many
you.
more for the rest of the season. Don't you wait.
I love it.
Don't you wait. Before we talk about the Jets, what'd you think of Jackson Dart yesterday?
It was an injection of enthusiasm that and this is the young Scott Van Pelt in Ellicott Hall at the University of Maryland, surrounded by a bunch of folks from Long Island and New York and New Jersey that rooted for the Giants and the Jets and the Yanks and the Mets. The young Van Pelt would have never imagined I would say these words out loud. I'm happy for Giants fans because, goodness gracious, you've earned it. The right to feel happy, to feel some optimism. He plays with an edge and a swagger, which is such an overused word, but being around guys that play the sport, Michael, I've heard it enough that there's an importance that you have a guy at that position who really engenders loyalty and support and the feeling to want to go fight for him. And I think that's what you saw. And that was an unbeaten team from LA that came in. And, the defense made some stops as well. Sexy Dexy up front doing his thing. I mean, I think Dart he's the lightning bolt, but that adrenaline runs off. And so now what do you do? And with the neighbor's injury, that's such a giant pall that's cast over the good feeling.
Yep.
But for 60 minutes of football in one day, he was awesome.
Now, again, before we get to the Jets, I want to get your take on this because this has been the majority of the show. You've been around sports your whole life. And I'm saying that the Mets not making the playoffs with a $340 million payroll coming off a season where they went to Game 6 of the NLCS and adding the transcendent Juan Soto is one of the most embarrassing collapses in the history of professional sports. Do you think that's hyperbolic or do you think it's legitimate?
It feels a bit strong, and I mean, there's a saying, like, if you put your nose up against the painting, you're too close to see it, right? If you back away from it, if you're not in New York, if you're not, and I don't think this is a Yankee framed viewpoint, Michael.
No.
I think you're in this city, you experience what it is every day on the back pages, on the streets, which, by the way, we're driving on right now. Where are we? On the corner of Barrow and Bleecker. Great to be in the city.
Oh, we're so close.
Well, we should say hi. No, I think, look, it's not what you paid for. Cohen put out the message to say, this isn't good enough, and he's right. You're spending the money. You expected a minimum with an expanded playoff berths available. You've got to make it. But, I mean, one of the all-time most embarrassing things, I don't know. I mean, I feel like look at the Dallas Cowboys. For 30 years, they've, been talked about and spend their money, and they don't win anything. So you'd expect to see it at the table at a minimum, yes, especially that they played from that space where they were in the conversation. And an impossible stat about never coming back in the ninth inning, like just draw a walk and hit a homer when you're down one. Like, you got to have a game like that, and it just never happened. So what was Cohen's line at the end? Apparently, the slow motion collapse that took 3 months is finally done. I mean,
Right.
It was painful for Met fans. I feel for them.
All right, so we have the Jets tonight. We had Steve Young on in the first hour of the show. And he agrees with me. You can't call it a must-win unless it's mathematical. He said, but emotionally for the Jets, this is a must-win because if you want to put your program in place and you want people to be engaged, you can't have them engaged on Tuesday or Wednesday if they lose to the Dolphins. Would you agree?
100%. They're 0-3. They're in your division. You just you lose to Buffalo. Okay, you probably expect that. They're Buffalo. They're the odds-on favorite. You lose to an 0-3 team that's looked listless, although they were competitive against Buffalo last week, and you fall to 0-4, and it's we flip the page to October, and it feels like you're toast. So yes, it's the kind of game that you really must have mathematically. No, must have for your psyche. Absolutely, you got to have this game.
Do you believe that they're going in the right direction? Because I mean, they almost won that previous game with a special teams play, but they still look overmatched at times in certain areas that they should be better at.
Yeah, I mean, this is a conversation I feel like you and I have had over these past few years where I just feel like both the Giants and the Jets, it's remarkable that you can kind of just stay in this malaise where you don't feel like you're making headway. Should be better. I mean, I think Glenn's been the coach for 3 games. You got to give the guy a chance.
Right.
You got to give him some runway, not metaphorically here to get the Jets to take off, but I think you got to give him some space. And if you look good tonight, look how different the world looks for Giant fans today, right?
Yep.
Everything feels a little bit more optimistic because you beat a good team and Dart looked okay. I think if you beat the Dolphins, you could say that's at least heading in the right direction. Like the Buffalo loss was a clunker, and it was hard to feel optimistic because you see how far away you are from that team that you have to live with. But I think it's early to feel like that this is a hopeless situation for them.
Oh, I would agree with that, but I think you could say that about the Dolphins. McDaniels might be on the griddle right now. They have not played well. Tua does not look like the same guy, so this is an important game for them as well.
Well, no, it's more so. I mean, I think that the clock is clearly ticking loudly, and it's amazing to me how quickly it can change. Just 2 years ago, they were the most enjoyable watch in the league, and they scored all these points, and Tua led the league in passing, and he's got the genius tag. And then, now you got people on my network taking shots at him, which are a little too personal for my liking. I don't think that's necessary. But he's got to win this game, or they said that they're going to be patient with him down there in Miami. But I mean, at 0-4 with a loss on a home field, because they're looking at the same way, Michael. They're like, hey, this team's 0-3. Why shouldn't we win?
Right. Now, the second game, you have the Bengals and the Broncos, and I look at the Bengals, Scott, as a team. I mean, everything rests on one guy, and that guy is out until close to the end of the season. Can the Bengals be competitive in a game like this?
I thought so going into last week, and then they got absolutely pantsed by Minnesota. But as we know with the league, right, like Carolina shut out Atlanta.
Yeah.
And then Atlanta turns around and beats Washington, and Carolina looks absolutely lost against New England. So week to week, things change drastically in this league. I think we all get that. Browning's the same guy that the week before against a good Jacksonville team came in and led them from behind to a win that they made them 2-0. Sure, I think they can compete with Denver. But Denver's a team that's lost a couple of games in a row that I'm sure they're looking at themselves going, how the hell did we lose to Indy on a call late on a 60-yard field goal where we got called for a 15-yard penalty, and then we lose a game to the Chargers where we got a lead late. Like, I think Denver's good, but, quote Bill Parcells, you are what your record says you are. So they're 1-2. They've got to win this game at home against Cincy. So, sure, Cincy could compete, but I think Denver's the more desperate team just because their record's what it is.
All right, it all starts at 5 o'clock Monday night countdown at the helm. Scott Van Pelt, 7:15 Jets Dolphins on ESPN. Then an hour later, Bengals Broncos on ABC. I know you're up against it with a lot of production responsibilities. Thank you for popping on with us.
Always lovely, talented, and great. I can't wait to hear what you say next week, Michael.
Let's throw in handsome. I'll give you a free one.
Thanks, pal.
Take it easy. That's Scott Van Pelt. There you have it. We have some news from Yankee Stadium. They're having a workout today. So what Brian Hoke of MLB.com is reporting is that we're probably not going to see Ben Rice, who had 2 home runs yesterday to give the Yankees that 3-2 victory over the Orioles. Yankees won 8 games in a row to end the season. They ended up in a tie with Toronto, but Toronto wins a tiebreaker. They also said that Wells is behind the plate and that if there is a Game 3, it will be Cam Schlittler. Now, I'm not sure if he addressed, and maybe Tom Bauer has that information in front of me, I'm not sure if he addressed who would be playing third base, because you've got Garrett Crochet on the mound, a tough left-hander. Ryan McMahon has not been hitting much, but he's a great defender, and you need a great defender at third if, in fact, you've got Max Fried on the mound, because there's a lot of ground balls at third from right-handed batters. Do you take your chance, though, and put in a guy who's known to punish left-handed pitching, and that's Ahmed Rosario? You're going to lose some defense, but you might pick up some offense. We'll see. Right now we know that Wells is playing, Rice is not, Goldschmidt starting at first base. That's what we know. And I think that the third base situation is going to be a tough call. You know, some Yankee fans I spoke to on the ride in today, they said, you think they're going to play Austin Slater? And I don't. I don't think that would be responsible. Austin Slater, they got him because he's very good against lefties. But who amongst those outfielders are you taking out? You're not taking out Bellinger, who hits well against lefties. You're not taking out Grisham, who had 34 home runs, and although he is somewhat neutralized by lefties, I don't think you could take him out. And obviously the batting champion is in right field, and Stanton is your DH. So it's going to be an interesting decision tomorrow for Game 1 with Max Fried against Garrett Crochet. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Ian in Roselle Park. What's up, Ian?
Hey, Michael, how you doing, man? Thanks for taking my call.
You got it.
Real quick, before I get to my Yankees point, so 2 weeks ago, my brother actually called you and asked if you could wish me a happy birthday.
Oh, I remember doing that.
His birthday.
Yeah.
Today is actually his birthday. I was wondering if you could do me a favor and wish him a may you live as long as you want as well.
Are you just playing with me here, Ian, or is this the true story?
I am not. No, I
swear.
No, I
swear
am
on
not.
your brother's life.
That is my brother.
Swear on your brother's
my brother,
life.
Drew from Hoboken. He is my brother. He's my best friend. I love him to death. And
what's the difference in age?
I swear to God, 3 years. He turns 30 today.
Drew from Hoboken, happy birthday, and may you live as long as you want, but never have to want as long as you live. There you go.
You have no idea how much that means to me. Thank you so much. So I was going to ask about potential changes the Yankees would make if they, God forbid, drop this series. But in light of what you just said about Wells getting the start, Rice not playing, and the questions at third base, call me crazy. I would, just curious what you think, I would lean towards Rosario at third just because I know McMahon has not been hitting. I don't think Rosario would be horrendous at third, and I don't know if you can have McMahon in the lineup against Crochet, figuring that's probably going to be an automatic, or not an automatic out, that's wrong, but probably not get much production there when you're already not having Rice's bat in the lineup.
I would lean to what you're saying, Ian. I probably would start Rosario. I have a gut feeling because it's so important to have, plus defense at third with Fried on the mound. I think they'll go with McMahon, which would make the bottom of the order kind of a black hole. But, a lot of responsibility on Fried to match zeros with Crochet. And the way you match zeros is to put your best defense on the field. Now, you also asked about if they lose, are there going to be changes? I think we're a little ahead of ourselves. But I will tell you this, even if they win the World Series, there's going to be changes. Bellinger's going to be a free agent. Grisham's going to be a free agent. Goldschmidt's going to be a free agent. I'd say at least two of them are gone. People are so sure that, Bellinger's going to come back. Well, how could you be sure? Weren't we all sure that Soto was going to come back? If somebody blows him out of the water, and the Yankees always set a limit, okay, this is what this guy is worth in our estimation. And they'd love to have Bellinger back. But if Bellinger gets a 4-year, $120 million offer from somebody, I don't think the Yankees would match that. I mean, if they could tack on 4 years at 25, maybe. And, there's some talk about, the Yankees would put a qualifying offer on Grisham. Well, I wouldn't. You're going to pay him $21 million after paying him $5 million this year? Is that what you're going to do? Now, he's a wondrous addition to your team at $5 million a year, but is he a wondrous addition to your team at $21 million a year? I think he would take it. More than he's ever made in his life. And if you do sign him, and if you do sign Bellinger, okay. Jason Dominguez done? You trading him? Spencer Jones out of your future? I mean, if you're going to lock up an outfield for the next 5 years, that means you're going to lock out a lot of people. Here's Bernie. That's right, TMKS Burner from Virginia. Hi, Bern.
Oh, what's going on?
How you doing? How you doing today?
I'm doing awful today, Michael, and I'll tell you why. A lot of reasons. All right. First, you were very wrong. You were very wrong. You said the Mets were gonna squeak into the playoffs.
I did.
You were wrong.
I did. I was dead wrong.
Yep, you certainly were. Next, I pray to God that the absolute collapse of my Mets was the result of some horrendous chemistry in the locker room. You know why?
Why?
Because if that locker room was great, then that just means that the entire team forgot to play baseball for 3 months. So I hope there was something that can be fixed, because if there is nothing wrong with the chemistry, then we got a lot of problems.
But let me throw this back at you, Bernie. You're a smart baseball fan, smart sports fan. Chemistry's not easy to fix, especially if the chemistry it derives from two people that are going to be there for the next 7 years together. That would worry me.
Well, that's the thing. What you have to do is everyone who is part of the problem that is able to be gotten rid of, get rid of them. You have to. I mean, yeah, we have several guys signed. But
what if the problem is Soto and Lindor, Bernie?
Okay, well, they both had pretty good years, and I think maybe they could probably work some of this stuff out in the offseason. They know they're not going anywhere.
Right.
But other guys like McNeil, I saw maybe there was a little thing between him and Soto. Get rid of everybody who has an issue in that locker room. I hope it is. And you know what? I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
How is it that ESPN New York, guys who have been around baseball for longer than I've been alive, how does nobody have a source inside the Mets clubhouse? Why do we have to wait? Why don't you or somebody else give the clubhouse kid $500 and say, hey, here's my phone number. Give me a call when you hear something. You got anything for me? Why does no one have a source in the locker room? I don't get it.
Well, maybe we do, and we just haven't had an opportunity to milk them.
You keep. I don't know. Everyone says, oh, something's going to come out. When? It should have come out months ago.
The first attempt at it, Bernie, was in The Athletic today. And I don't think there was anything illuminating other than the fact that Soto is very businesslike and wants to approach each game as if it's the most important thing in the world, and Lindor is very lighthearted. That's the first thing I've seen. I think it's going to be deeper. Maybe I'll find something out. Maybe other people will. But you'd have to admit there's got to be deeper problems, because whatever chemistry there is, that team's not an 83-win team. It's just not.
That much money be thrown at a problem and not make the playoffs. It's horrendous.
And they're going to throw more money at it now.
I'm glad we have Soto. I'm glad he left the Yankees, and I'm glad we have him. He's 40-40. What else do you want from the guy? Pitching, what Stearns did to that pitching staff is a fireable offense. They have to fix it. I don't know how. Throw more money at pitching, I guess, because that's what we need.
But it's funny, Bernie. That's not something that he believes in. He didn't even make a move toward Max Fried last year or Corbin Burns. Now, Burns turned out to be, you're lucky you stayed away from him. Max Fried, the Mets would be in the playoffs if they had Max Fried at the top of their rotation. He doesn't believe in long-term contracts for veteran pitchers. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? There was one thing that rankled me about the post-game situation with the Mets yesterday. And it kind of happened last year with the Yankees, and happened a couple of years before that with Garrett Cole. I'll explain what I'm talking about when we get back in just a moment. So stick around. So much more to touch on right here on ESPN New York.
Monday with Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. Can the Jets follow the Giants' lead and pick up their first victory of the season tonight? How confident are you in the Yankees against the Red Sox? And where do the Mets go from here?
Stearns has to swallow a really tough pill here right now. Stearns has to figure out what he was disgusting this offseason and this season.
Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg at 3 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
There's nothing the voice in our head obsesses over like our health. But with over 100 lab tests and insights, Function can help answer the questions like, why am I so tired all the time? How can I get better sleep? My friend was telling me about magnesium gummies she takes. Know if my heart is work stress affected? It's time to up my cardio. If my mom has something, how would I find out? It's time to get some blood work done. A Function membership gives you a comprehensive health check with results tracked over time. Find out what you're made of at functionhealth.com.
Every aspect of your business will operate better and faster with artificial intelligence. AI is a race, and companies that act first will win. Thrive Managed AI is your advantage over all your competitors. Thrive partners with you on a smart, secure AI strategy for your business. Then they deploy and manage it for you. Be first and win the race with Thrive Managed AI. Start with a complimentary strategy consultation at thrivenextgen.com/ESPN. That's thrivenextgen.com/ESPN.
Hey Yankees fans, hit your next adventure out of the park and onto the water with City Cruises New York. Sail your way to epic skyline views, delicious dining, and premium drinks. Upgrade your game day with a dining cruise, a cocktail sail, or a night with your favorite entertainers aboard City Cruises Live. Whether you're celebrating a win or just the weekend, City Cruises is a shipload of fun. Proud partner of the New York Yankees. Book today at citycruises.com/New York.
This is John D'Agostino from D'Agostino & Associates. I played sports my whole life, and my dad was my biggest fan. Because he lost his leg in a construction accident, it was sometimes tough for him to get from his car to the bleachers, but that didn't stop him. He always kept a folding chair in his trunk and would cheer from the parking lot when he had to. And over the past 35 years of building D'Agostino & Associates, I've made sure our team does whatever it takes to accommodate our clients and help them get every dollar they deserve. With my son and my daughter by my side, we're going to continue the legacy of getting justice for people just like you. The consultation is always free, so call us first at 1-800-BITE-BACK, 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-248-3222, and ask for me, John D'Agostino. We have offices throughout New York and New Jersey, but we'll always make it easy for you to meet with one of our attorneys. Remember, I've been there, and I'll be there for you. D'Agostino Law. Bite back.
One 877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's carsforkids.org.
We are proud to serve our country, to serve our local communities, to wear the uniform, to be a soldier, to serve abroad when and where duty calls. We are ready to stand with our brothers and sisters to defend, to serve, to fight. We're always ready, we're always there. We are the New York Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the New York Army National Guard.
Your fantasy roster is set, the smack talk is heating up, and this season ESPN Bet is giving you more ways to ride with your squad. Introducing the ESPN Bet Fan Center, where you can instantly link and bet on your fantasy teams right in the ESPN Bet app. An enhanced sports betting experience only from ESPN Bet, the sportsbook for sports fans. Make the connection today with ESPN Bet Fan Center and the ESPN Fantasy app. ESPN Bet Sportsbook, download the app today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
What is it that makes the all-new Hyundai Palisade hybrid an incredible SUV? Is it the spacious interior that's comfy for the whole crew? Or the capability to go off-road? Maybe it's up to 600-plus miles of range. Is it the driver behind the wheel? What if it's all of that and more? What is it then? The all-new Hyundai Palisade hybrid. So much more than just another SUV. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details. That's 562-314-4603.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. And, I hate this phrase, but, this stuff kind of puts everything into perspective. Everybody's angry at the Giants and, how they run their organization. Well, this statement was released from John Mara moments ago. I have recently been diagnosed with cancer, have been following the treatment plan recommended by an outstanding team of doctors. I'm feeling strong and optimistic, and I'm committed to seeing this through to a positive outcome. I plan to remain active with the team throughout my treatment, and I'm fortunate to be surrounded by incredible support personally, professionally, and medically. I ask that you respect my privacy and my family's privacy at this time. If you don't like the owner that John Mara is, fine, you have that right. John Mara is a terrific man. So thoughts and prayers go out to John, and our prayers go toward a very quick and complete recovery. But that's rough news. Rough news. So we hope that he is okay. All right, getting back to the toy store of sports. So a lot of things had to be unpacked yesterday for the Mets. And one thing that bothered me, and so I'll go back a couple of years. And I like Garrett Cole a lot. So the last game he ever pitched for the Astros, they lost. I believe it was the World Series. And he came out post-game, and he's wearing a Boris Corporation hat. Didn't have any Houston Astro stuff on at all. At all. And he's talking about his free agent. And I said, wow, that's not right. You just lost the World Series. Let's give it time to breathe, dude. I didn't even know Garrett Cole at that time, other than seeing him as a great pitcher. But right away, the Boris Corporation cap on, any Astro paraphernalia off. It was all business. Now we go to last year. Another Boris client, Juan Soto. The Yankees had just lost the World Series in 5 games. The 5th game about as painful as you could get. And Juan Soto's talking very businesslike about, nobody has an advantage. I'm going to consider all 30 teams. And then yesterday, Pete Alonso had signed a contract in February, a 2-year deal. 2nd year was his option. So he paid $30 million for this year. And it would have been $57 million, $27 for next year. Everyone knew if he stayed healthy and put up Pete Alonso numbers, that he was going to opt out. So somebody asked him, "You're going to opt out?" Now, let's play act here. If Michael Kay played the role of Pete Alonso, and somebody asked me that question, "Hey, Peter, you're going to opt out of your contract?" Here's what Michael Kay, as Pete Alonso, would say. Listen, this is very raw. This hurts, not making the playoffs with this team. There'll be time to address this in the future. I'm not dealing with that right now. That's not the way it went. Pete Alonso, another Boris client, comes out and says, "Yeah, I'm opting out." Wrong time, dude. Wrong time. I'm sorry. Not the time to do it. Met fans have their heart split in two. The team is ravaged. So are you. That's not a question you have to answer. So I was talking to a good friend of mine, who's a Met fan today. He said, well, he was asked a question. Well, that's like if your wife says, "Do I look fat?" The answer is no. Whether or not they look fat or not. Are you going to opt out? Listen, we just lost this awful game. We're not going to the playoffs. We'll talk about that in the future. It's so easy. But maybe that's the game plan for Scott Boras. Let's get to it right away. It's business. Let's show that there's no personal feelings involved. There's no allegiance toward anybody. Now, Pete did go on to say that he loved the Mets and he wanted to stay there. But why have to say I'm going to not pick up the option? Edwin Diaz didn't. Edwin Diaz might not pick up the option. There's 100 days during the offseason where you could say I'm not picking up the option. And Scott did the same thing with Alex Rodriguez. When Alex was traded to the Yankees and then he had an opportunity to opt out after year 7, and he decided to opt out in the middle of the World Series. Awful look. Could have waited. Didn't have to be right that day. And then last year, he opted out Garrett Cole. And you know what? The Yankees did the right thing and called his bluff. No, you're not getting the extra year. Go ahead. You're a free agent. And then Garrett came back the next day and said, "I take it back. This is the only place I want to be." Sometimes it's not smart to play hardball. Sometimes it's not. I thought Pete Alonso, that was a sour note yesterday. For a guy that I like, sour note. Let's go to John in Washington. John. Hello, John.
Hey, Michael. Nice to be here with you again.
What's up?
I feel like I'm becoming a regular calling you from the Pacific Northwest. But so, man, I'm just overjoyed. The Yankees made it in, and it really doesn't matter to me that they made it in as a wild card. To me, they're going in hot, and But the reason I wanted to call, too, was something that kind of struck a nerve with me yesterday, and was just listening to the Mets post game, and I think it was Keith that said, like, well, what are the Marlins doing down there? They're taking a picture together like they won the World Series. Well, Keith, the Marlins have actually won 2 World Series since the Mets last won one. And who knows if they're just doing it as a fan appreciation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like they're just not looking at things properly.
Well,
and
I mean,
that might just be the whole Mets organization.
Well, I think that everything was wrong with the Mets yesterday. But I don't have I mean, they celebrated like they won the World Series. But I'll tell you what, that was their World Series. The Marlins loved the fact that they knocked the Mets out. So they took a picture in front on the field. So what? I'm sure if the Mets had snuck into the World Series because the Reds lost, they'd had a bacchanal in the visiting clubhouse at Lone Depot. People celebrate the way I don't even think. I mean, do they celebrate after every round in football? No, never. Do they celebrate after every round in basketball? No, never. They celebrate at the end. Baseball, clinch. Another celebration. If the Yankees had won the division yesterday, would have another celebration. Then if you win the wild card, another celebration. ALDS, another celebration. ALCS, another celebration. I mean, it's silly, but that's what they do. But they don't do it in other sports. Let's go to Mike out in Georgia. Mike.
How's it going, Michael K?
What's going on, Mikey?
2 things and then one little statement. First off, last week you said that you were just good at your job when you were talking about going to the Hall of Fame. For kids in my generation, you and Don Orsello are peak. You are the best at your jobs.
Oh,
and you should go to the Hall of Fame.
But I won't, but thank you.
But you deserve to, you and Don. I will say, I want to thank the Mets. First point, thank the Mets for showing us Yankee fans, doesn't matter how much money you throw at a problem, it's not going to fix your bad roster. And secondly, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I noticed it. Wait, the Yankees were killing it before Oswaldo went down. Oswaldo went down, we tanked. And then trade deadline comes around, and the one trade that I was like, why do we do that? I look at it now like that was such a smart trade. Jose Caballero came in and filled the role of Oswaldo Cabrera. He was the heart. He was a spark plug. He was the one who would fit whatever need the team needs. He was the push for us, I think. He was so big that he's so understated. And if we start Ryan McMahon, anyone besides McMahon at third base tomorrow, we need to start Caballero at shortstop because he's so much better at shortstop.
See that? I'll tell you what, Mike, that's where I disagree with you. And I thank you for those kind words at the start. If you watch Caballero on an everyday basis, he makes really, really big mistakes that will cost you your season in the postseason. I'm telling you, he's not going to start at short. It's going to be Volpe. I've been saying this for 2 weeks. Caballero is going to be the spark plug off the bench. He got picked off a second yesterday. Previous day, I think he got picked off a first. He's not as sure-handed at shortstop as Volpe is. He's just not. And Volpe's had a bad offensive season and a bad defensive season. I still rather have him out there than Caballero, and I think the Yankees are going to put him out there, not Caballero. Caballero off the bench is a great player for the Yankees. Playing him every day exposes him more and more to make mistakes of aggression. I'm telling you, if you're watching the game, I cannot picture the Yankees starting him in a playoff game. I can't picture it. I can't picture it. Remember, Anthony Volpe played very well in the postseason last year. Very well. Had a grand slam in the World Series. Now, when Cabrera went down, the reason, one of the reasons the Yankees stumbled, Jazz shouldn't have been playing third. LeMahieu should not have been playing second. Jazz is not as good a third baseman as he is a second baseman, and LeMahieu, it turned out, was shot. The Yankees kept riding that, trying to milk LeMahieu for whatever they could, hoping that they didn't have to release him. They finally did. At the trade deadline, they made smart trades. Rosario was a smart trade. Caballero was a smart trade. Getting the bullpen guys was a smart trade, even though 2 of them haven't worked out. Bednar's your closer. And getting Slater was a smart trade. The Yankees had a great trade deadline. Great. So Cabrera was an important player for them, an energy guy, and he's back in the dugout anyway. But Rosario's an energy guy, too. He's the first guy out of the dugout all the time to celebrate. But in terms of starting Caballero, I don't think I would do that in the postseason. All due respect to him. He's an energy guy, but sometimes he's a little out of control. Just a little bit. Now, I'm going to give you my take on the Yankees' chances to go to the World Series when we come back in just a moment, because it's an interesting journey they have to go on. So stay tuned for that. Hey, the FanDuel Sportsbook app is your home for all your favorite NFL bets, from yards to touchdowns to who will win. With FanDuel, any play can be the play of the game. When the Jets and the Dolphins and the Bengals and the Broncos play tonight, FanDuel giving all customers a 50% PBT or two 30% PBTs. That's right. You can get in on the action with a 50% PBT or two 30% PBTs this Monday night. That's today. So make FanDuel your go-to app for any snap. Just visit FanDuel.com/K to bet the Jets versus the Dolphins and the Bengals versus the Broncos with a 50% PBT or two 30% PBTs. Play your game with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. 21 plus and physically present in New York. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For all the gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
D'Agostino & Associates is a legacy firm, and I'm proud to be a part of that legacy. I'm Jenna D'Agostino, and like my father, I fight to get justice for the injured.
The hustle and grit of these streets shaped me. I'm John D'Agostino, and from the concrete to the courtroom, I built this injury firm 35 years ago to get accident victims justice. So call my team first, 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-248-3222.
You want justice? Think Jenna D'Agostino. Think D'Agostino & Associates. Justice isn't just a word. For us, it's a way of life. It's having compassion for your struggle and getting you paid for your pain. Now that's justice. D'Agostino & Associates means being there for the injured.
Seriously injured? Call my team first at 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-248-3222. D'Agostino & Associates has offices throughout New York and New Jersey and will come to you. I've been there, and I'll be there for you.
D'Agostino Law Bite Back. We are proud to serve our country, to serve our local communities, to wear the uniform, to be a soldier, to serve abroad when and where duty calls. We are ready to stand with our brothers and sisters to defend, to serve, to fight. We're always ready, we're always there. We are the New York Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the New York Army National Guard.
At City Harvest, we believe no New Yorker has to go hungry. With your help, we're on the road 365 days a year, rescuing over 77 million pounds of nutritious food and delivering it free to millions of New Yorkers, transforming surplus food into sustenance, sustainability, and smiles, rallying thousands of New Yorkers to power a network of nourishment across our city. One day, one meal, and one New Yorker at a time. That's how we feed good. Donate at cityharvest.org.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Listen up, New York. It's football season, and you should be out there enjoying every play, every tailgate, every moment. But if you're dealing with neck pain, back pain, joint pain, or sciatica, even getting off the couch can feel like a challenge. That's where Dr. Jay Shaw at Sandwell Pain comes in. He's one of New Jersey's top pain specialists, Ivy League trained, double board certified, and dedicated to getting you back in the game. Here's the difference. No surgery, no scars, no long recovery, no pain medication. Just precise, non-surgical, image-guided procedures that get real results. Dr. Shaw treats everything from neck pain, back pain, migraines, nerve pain, and chronic joint pain. And he builds a custom game plan that's right for you. Same day or next day appointments are available with offices in Woodbridge, Livingston, and Inglewood. And yes, most major insurances are accepted. So don't let pain keep you on the sidelines this season. Go to SandwellPain.com to call, text, or book online. Relief is closer than you think, and it starts today.
This college football moment is brought to you by ServPro.
College football teams have moments they recovered from and made it like it never even happened. Like on September 24, 2016, when Tulsa found themselves down 31-0 to Fresno State. With 10 minutes left in the second quarter, Tulsa fought back to tie the game at 41. and then won 48-41 in double overtime.
Serve Pro, like it never even happened.
Rich Eisen here for Sonos, the speakers that bring every game to life in my own house. With studio quality sound, Sonos makes you feel like you're right there in the stadium. Whether you're cheering on your team, binging your favorite show, or listening to the hottest songs, Sonos fills every room with incredible sound. Setup is easy. Just plug in, open the Sonos app, and you're ready to go. Want stadium quality sound at home just like me? Because I love Sonos. You will too. Explore soundbars, speakers, and more at Sonos.com. Sonos. They look as good as they sound.
From the regular season to the Super Bowl, ESPN New York is your destination for football. We've got crazy fans.
If the Giants somehow beat the Cowboys, I'm going to take a dump on your head.
You can feel good because you're a damn football team.
Expert analysis.
Marcus Spears joins us now, ESPN NFL analyst Damian Woody.
Mel Kiper Jr.
The Hall of Famer Steve Young.
He's kind of our resident general manager, Louis Riddick.
We got Mike Tannenbaum right now.
And all your fantasy and wagering needs. This is ESPN New York. We are football.
Hey, Saturday, October 4th at Sports Illustrated Stadium, the New York Red Bulls take on FC Cincinnati with kickoff set for 7:30 p.m. Start your match day early on the Boulevard at 4:30 p.m. Enjoy pregame activations, giveaways, and live performances. Then at 5:45 p.m., catch the Red Bulls on the red carpet. Gates open at 6 p.m. where the first 10,000 fans get a reversible Red Bulls bucket hat. Now, for your chance to win a family 4-pack, enter now through the ESPN New York app. Just click the contest tile and submit your entry. Bring the crew and secure your seats at NewYorkRedBulls.com. Plan ahead and travel smart. The Harrison Path Station is closed Saturday, October 4th. Free shuttles will run from Journal Square to the stadium. So last year at this time, I came on the air and I said that if the Yankees didn't make the World Series with the road that was ahead of them, it would be a gigantic failure and disappointment. The road was cleared for them by what was put in front of them. They didn't choose it, but to get to the World Series, they had to bye. Then they had to face the Kansas City Royals, and then it turned out they had to face the Cleveland Guardians. They're better than the Royals. They're better than the Guardians. They were clearly better. Now, as easy as the road was last year, is as difficult as the road is this year. You got to beat the Red Sox, then the Toronto Blue Jays. Both teams destroyed you during the regular season. And then likely the Seattle Mariners, who have a great starting pitching staff. That's not easy. Anybody who's celebrating at this point says, well, the Yankees are going to the World Series for 2 years in a row. My advice to you, don't count your chickens before they hatch. This is going to be a very difficult endeavor. Consider they have to face Garrett Crochet tomorrow, who pitched great against them this year. I've had people tell me, well, they did score those 3-4 runs against him. Yeah, that was after he was given a 6-0 lead in the first inning against Will Warren. He's smart enough to just pound the strike zone. Now, I remember the game that started the 20-31 stretch where the Yankees couldn't touch him for 9 innings until Aaron Judge hit one onto Lansdowne Street. And then the Yankees lost in extra innings. And that was the beginning of the 20-31 stretch. This guy's the real deal. And Max Fried's the real deal. If you want to worry a little bit about Max Fried, he has not pitched well in the playoffs since he was great, clinching the World Series in 2021. He's got to be great tomorrow because I expect Garrett Crochet to be great. Now, for those of you that talk about you can't win games by homering in the postseason, well, then the Yankees are in trouble if that's the truth. And I don't believe it's the truth because teams that out-homer their opponents in the postseason in the last 4 years, out-homer in a game their opponents, you know what their record is? 95-20. So the home run is a huge part of this. Now we'll break down the Red Sox and the Yankees tomorrow in full. This is more of a post-mortem day for the Mets. But just know this. This is not an easy road to the World Series for the Yankees. It's the most difficult road they could have had. And that's why I'm sure the Yankees were disappointed when they did not win the East yesterday, because that would have taken a 3-game set against the Red Sox out of the equation. They would have sat back and waited for the winner of the Blue Jays and the Red Sox. And if Detroit had been able to beat the Red Sox, then that first series would have been the Yankees in Detroit. Now, you would have had to deal with Tarek Skubal, but the Tigers aren't as good as the Red Sox by any stretch of the imagination. Any stretch. So the Tigers are going to play the Guardians, and the winner of that series will play Seattle. Seattle should beat up on them. And then the winner of the Yankees and the Red Sox is going to play Toronto. Now, I talked about the segment of Met fans that are were trolling me during the season regarding Juan Soto being glum. Because I'm classy, I didn't send anything out today with Juan Soto looking glum yesterday, because that's not me. Too good a guy. I love people too much. But the Blue Jays, remember I made the comment that the Blue Jays really theoretically are not a first-place team when you look at their run differential. And they took that to mean that I didn't think the Blue Jays were good. Again, a segment of Blue Jay fans that need their head examined. And, I mean, they have been pounding me for months about that. But it's weird. They got weirdly quiet for the last 2 weeks as the Blue Jays season was cratering. Didn't say a word. And I was thinking, if the Yankees do beat out the Blue Jays, do I say, I guess I was right, but I wasn't going to do that because I have respect for John Schneider. Obviously, I have a deep affection for Don Mattingly, the bench coach. I wouldn't do that. And I turned out to be right, by the way, because if you look at the Blue Jays' run differential, they should have won 87 games. They overachieved. And then you look at the Yankee run differential, which I think is plus 162. They should have won 97 games. They underachieved by 3 wins. And the Blue Jays and the Yankees finished with the same record, and the reason the Blue Jays have the bye is because they beat up on the Yankees. So there was one clown who said, here's your Pythagorean theorem. And this genius, right, spelled theorem T-H-E-R-E-M. Not a great reflection on the university system in Canada. Just saying. And then called me a name. Hilarious. Never said a word. The Blue Jay fans didn't say a word while it was all happening as the Blue Jays were blowing a 5-game lead to the Yankees. Yankees have nothing to be embarrassed about. They finished the season winning 8 in a row. Since August 11th, they have the best record in baseball. They finished on an upswing. Because I never thought they would be tied for the best record in the American League. Never. But here we are. Now, the Yankees want to be regretful about anything? I'll tell you what. Be regretful about all those kick-in-the-groin losses that you had. The 3 against Miami. I mean, we can name chapter and verse how many games they gave away. And I brought that up to Paul O'Neill, and he had a great answer. He said, you could look at it that way, but you can also look at it this way. They won a lot of games that maybe they shouldn't have won. And he's right. But the games that you should have won, those are the ones that stand out. Like when they used the 3 new pitchers that they acquired at the trade deadline against the Marlins, and they blew that lead. That was devastating. Just think about this season. Look back before the playoffs start tomorrow. 1 more win, and they don't have to face the Red Sox in a best of 3. 1. Find 1 more win there. 1 more. That's the thing that's going to resonate, especially if they lose this series. 1 more win. But the Yankees are going to the playoffs, and the Mets aren't. At 3:20, David Stearns is going to address the media. I'm sure they'll cover that on Don Hahn and Rosenberg. Don has a problem with something that I said. So I'll stay around and see exactly what he has to say and debate him on it. That's all coming up in a moment. In the words of Billy Joel, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. I'm afraid it's time for goodbye again. See everybody. Have a wonderful afternoon. Talk to you tomorrow at 1.
Every aspect of your business will operate better and faster with artificial intelligence. AI is a race, and companies that